Hello, my name is Chelsea Hinton, and my project is Older Adult Oral Video Presentation. The developmental stage that I chose in Erikson's biopsychosocial theory of development was the seventh stage, which is the generativity and versus stagnation stage. This stage takes place during middle adulthood between the ages of 40 and 65. Generativity refers to caring for others and accomplishing things that make the world a better place, while stagnation is when the individual fails to find a way to contribute to their community. Some questions that the older adult might ask themselves while in this stage is, how can I contribute to the world? A virtue that they are thinking about is care. And some important events that happen within this stage is parenthood and work/accomplishment. So a little background on my interviewee. She's actually my grandmother, and her name is Ophelia Ross Donaldson. She grew up in Yonkers, New York. She had her first child right out of high school and lived in poverty throughout her childhood and the beginning of her adult life before she moved to North Carolina. She remarried and then moved to North Carolina with her husband and her 4 kids, where she experienced a vast cultural transition within her life. This is one of the quotes that she had when I was interviewing her. She stated, "The hardest decision I have made was to uproot my family from the north to the south, especially with little to no money." I would have to say that within the accomplishments and challenges sector of her life, Ophelia, my grandmother, is experiencing the formal operational stage of Piaget's theory, where she is able to see multiple potential solutions for problems and use her deductive reasoning skills. I believe that the formal operational stage is crucial because it focuses on cognitive development while examining how systematic planning emerges during this stage as well. I believe that my grandmother has experienced a great deal of heartbreak and despair in her adulthood that could have easily negatively altered her mental well-being, but she was able to overcome it all. She was diagnosed with breast cancer just a few years after her husband died of kidney failure. But thank goodness now she is in 10 years of remission. Although she was raised in the projects and labeled as a single mother at the age of 19, she was still acknowledged the importance of education. She not only instilled it in herself, but her kids as well, and graduated with a BA in education at the age of 62. I thought this was a great quote that kind of correlated with her accomplishments that she was going through. Successful aging is not only a concept, but it's a mindset as well. It is healthy, positive, productive, active, an effective approach to measuring life satisfaction. My grandmother, this is a quote that I also love of hers during our interview that I put inside of the PowerPoint. She stated one of her greatest accomplishments accomplishments was being able to walk across the stage to receive her BA and see her grandchildren and children in the audience watching her. When looking at Erikson's psychosocial development, we're looking at human fulfillment. The relationship between self-compassion and ego integrity has not yet been examined, but it is known that individuals that have self-compassion have also been associated with wisdom. Now, self-compassion involves unconditional feeling of care, acceptance, and understanding towards oneself when dealing with difficult situations. A lot of people do go through despair, especially during adulthood, because so many changes are going on. While despair is a loss of absence of hope, especially in older adulthood, you're transitioning from jobs, you are losing family members, you're losing your husband, your wife, and things like that. So that is important that you do attain self-compassion, and that is something that my grandma was able to contain, so she didn't fall into despair or depression and things like that. She did have a lot of anguish but she did develop that sense of self-compassion, which turned her psychosocial crisis into a feeling of acceptance. For the psychosocial crisis resolution, I use the Bronfenbrenner theory. I thought this theory actually cultivated my grandmother's macro system by giving context to her socioeconomic and ethnic status. Being a Black young single mother in Yonkers, New York, versus moving in the South and being a Black woman was a whole new lifestyle for my grandmother. The difference in culture from the North to the South was very vast, and in no way, shape, or form was racism not an issue in the South. With my grandfather being of lighter skins, favoring Caucasian race, they were often looked at a lot and heard a lot of whispers that they were not used to from living in the North. They had never experienced such blatant racism. But my grandmother uses to her advantage to lift and empower her community. As well as another psychosocial crisis resolution, due to the fact that classism shapes every aspect of our lives, whether it be our social, economic, racial, or gender class, there is room for facing oppression if you do not belong to the dominant group, which the dominant group is the Christian, able-bodied, straight, young, white male. My grandmother did not belong to that group. She faced oppression not only by being a woman, but by being a Black woman by that. But she did not look at her failures or hardships as losses, but more as learning lessons. By having such a strong family support system, my grandma was able to overcome a lot of events that could have led to a state of depression and isolation, especially after the turning events of my grandfather dying. After that, she did find out she had breast cancer, and she found out she was diagnosed with diabetes. So it took us as a family unit to come together to support her, and I think it was so important that she did have that family structure and that family support system. She had experienced other events because due to the fact that she was in such a low social class. She was not in the position to attain some of the goals that she wanted to, but like I said in previous slides, she did not let that hinder her. She was just able to attain those goals in her own due time. And I have a short little video all for you to watch. It kind of goes into my next slide a little bit. It explains the role of dealing with older adults in your life, and you kind of being the caretaker for them, and kind of how that situation goes. I'll try not to play the whole one for you. It's kind of long.
Ma's been feeling a little down lately, so I invited her to play golf with us.
Oh, wonderful. Glad to have you along, Sophia.
I know.
So, Sophia, tell me, have you played much?
Have I played? Have I played? Have I played what? So, where are you going all dressed up?
Raymond invited me out for an intimate dinner. Actually, it'll be the first time in weeks that we've been anywhere without Ma.
Is that why you sent her off to the drugstore? You're dumping your own mother?
Faster than CBS dumped Jimmy the Greek.
Dorothy, I'm shocked at your behavior. Me too. I would have done it on the first date.
No, I felt terrible about doing it, but Raymond and I need our privacy.
Why don't you just tell Sophia how you feel?
It'll hurt her feelings, and right now, we're the only friends she has.
Oh, I think that's sweet. I think it's unnatural, and I'm from the South. I mean, what do you do when you and Raymond want to, make love? Flash! Well, it's bound to come up. How do you handle it? Yeah, Dorothy, how do you handle it?
Handle it? I can't even get close to it. Is it safe? Come in. Ma's at the drugstore. Come in, but make it quick.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, let's go. I really feel so terrible about running out on Ma like that.
I don't.
Hey, give it a rest, Raymond. You're in her mouth more than her dentist.
Ma, how did you get back from the drugstore so soon?
I faked a heart attack to get through the line faster. What's up?
Well, we were just going out to dinner.
Great, I'm stumped. Where are we going?
Well, Sophia, to tell you the truth, we thought maybe just this once we'd like...
We thought we'd like to go out for French food. How does that sound to you?
They eat snails. Why pay good money for something you can scrape off your shoes?
Well, of course, if you'd rather not come, we understand.
Oh, don't worry about that. I'll find something on the menu. I just enjoy being out with you guys. Come on.
Dorothy, I'm getting tired of dating your mother.
I promise this is the last time this will ever happen.
Okay.
One of the theories, another theory that I wanted to talk about within my presentation was ego psychology. I thought this theory was very interesting. There's a lot to do with the ego, superego, and id within a lot of the theories that we go over. The ego has positive adaptive functions,